Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome back to the show. This is a good one today. If you haven't caught many or any or all, whatever the case may be, you tuned in today on the episode 750 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Mike, 750. Jeez, oh man.
Oh,
I know when we were right around 300, we were like, oh my god, I can't believe we spent this much time with one another.
I know, right?
Like 3/4 of the way to 1,000.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't killed each other yet.
That's the big thing.
That may be the best part of the show. We haven't killed each other.
People don't realize how much that actually means.
When you get two people who are passionate about the product, that's what happens.
Yeah, no two ways about it.
We both love what we do, but sometimes, hey, maybe 750.
750. I can't even believe it. I can't, Mike. It's
just sitting there, in the little living room kitchen nook area, setting up old equipment, trying to figure out how to get the version 1.0 of the podcast off the ground. And here we are now,
trying to figure out how to get a microphone working.
That took 4 hours and 3 people.
It was a task. It certainly hasn't been an easy ride. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. Yeah. I would do it all over again. No two ways about it.
No. Oh, God.
But at the end of the day, 750. Yes. Congratulations, Mike. Thank you for all the hard work.
No, congratulations to you, buddy, man. You do a shit ton of work on here, man.
Tomorrow will be day one of our quest from 750, because today's 750, so we'll call tomorrow day one in our quest for the big 1,500, Mike, which we're halfway to 1,500.
Halfway. I like how we went from 3/4 of a way to 1,000 to fuck it. We're going halfway to 1,500.
Yeah, baby.
Go big or go home.
And I'm sure it'll fly just like this 700. And the thing is, it did. It did.
God, it flew by.
When you take it as time looked back on it, really did go fast. No two ways about it, man. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 750. That's right, 750. Welcome back to the Two Dumb Yinzers. Great to see everybody this morning. Mike, we'll let some people let people get through the door here. Let me start with the Pirates, and then I promise we're going to jump right over to football. We're not going to mess around today. Let's get into it. This Pittsburgh Pirate team, Mike, they scored 19 runs over the past 2 days, which I didn't think was ever going to happen.
No.
They were 0-29 2 days ago, going into the 7th inning when trailing. 0-29. 2 nights ago, Mike, on Tuesday, they win 9-6. And then yesterday on Paul Skenes Day, they win 10-1 to win the series over Arizona. We need a little bit more of this Arizona Diamondback team in our life.
Right?
I mean, we haven't put up runs like this all season.
I know, right? I did not see this coming, Arizona, they're about a 500 ball club.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, we're going to get, it's going to be another, we're going to get our ass whooped. Paul Skenes going to give up a run and we're going to lose. And surprise, surprise. In that game where we came back, I was like, all right, game's over. I stopped following along on Twitter and ESPN. I was like, I'm done going to bed.
We're just in the wrong division. I mean,
right?
If Arizona, they're 500, and that team was 500.
Yeah.
Nah.
Joey Bart gets hurt. I'm like, oh God, we got to rely on Henry Davis, and then, whew.
You know what? They just brought Indy back, so it's
Yeah.
hopefully not going to be too much of a difference there. But I like Joey Bart behind the plate. Mike, I think again at the end of the day, if they get their heads out of their asses, it's probably not that terrible of a team. I think that they could probably have an okay season.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if it's just a mixture of what the fans they brought for the team from the beginning of the season, because there was a lot promised, of course, and then all those little things that came along the way, the Usher fight, the guy jumping out of the bleachers,
right,
the
bricks,
the can over Roberto Clemente's number. I mean, the list truly goes on and on and on and on. And maybe, just maybe, it's maybe that had some kind of effect on the players, which I wish that it wouldn't. It was totally toward the team. Everything is against ownership, and I hope that they know this. But good morning to Corey Beavers on the show. Always great to see my friend Corey Beavers. He says, "Good afternoon. What a week. Pittsburgh sports is such a mess. No two ways about that." I blame Mike and Andre Fleury, but
curse of the flower,
and Mike too. You tend to
no.
You broke the curse. Okay,
I broke the curse. I did the whole thing. I had my finger up my nose.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
I'm coming back. I'm like Henry Davis. I am on the rebound.
The only thing we got to do now is get Marc-Andre Fleury to get his finger up his nose, and that will be the way to break the curse for Pittsburgh overall.
Well, he ended up, caused Crosby to lose for Team Canada, so that might be breaking the curse right there.
It very well might.
That's what I'm going with anyway.
I do want to wrap this Pirate stuff up pretty quick because, again, we got a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers stuff to go over. I know that's the bread and butter. People tune in for their Pittsburgh Steeler talk, and I totally get it, because you know what, I do too. Guys, the Pittsburgh Pirates again, Mike, they were down 6-0. They scored 9 straight. They scored 8 in the 7th inning on Tuesday night to win that game over the D-backs 9-6. And again, they win yesterday on a Paul Skenes start, Mike, where Skenes goes 6-2, 6.2, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, no walks. He has 7 strikeouts on the day. Again, getting great run support from his teammates, something he hasn't seen much of at all. So far, Mike, again, getting the 10-1 win. O'Neal Cruz right now has 12 home runs and 18 stolen bases on the season. Mike, that's 2 months into the season. That is a third of the way. So if he does keep this up, he's on pace for 36 home runs and 54 stolen bases, which would be a very, very good season for a Pirate at this point.
Oh, God, yeah.
But the Pirates, they have today off. They pick back up tomorrow in the some may argue the best weather in the country, San Diego, to take on the Padres. Mike, the Padres will be facing Keller, Falter, and Haney going into this, coming through the series through the weekend. A couple quick notes on these Pittsburgh Pirates. I promise I'm chomping at the bit to get to the score too, everybody. Couple quick things. If you want to get this is going to be big. This is going to be one of the biggest things you've ever seen in Pittsburgh. And I'm talking bigger than the draft. At this point, there may not be nothing that's ever happened in Pittsburgh bigger than this, guys. On June 22nd, is Superman night at the Pittsburgh Pirates Texas Rangers game. And they have a special Superman Paul Skenes bobblehead where you actually have to have a special ticket required. I don't know what that is. I didn't even get into that. I just seen that and I thought I got to at least bring this up. You have to have a special ticket, apparently, Mike. I don't know if you have to sell off your firstborn, a kidney, whatever it may be. However, you can get this. And as I said, from the way the last Paul Skenes bobblehead went, the line was clear around Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think it reached 3/4 of the way to Philadelphia. Mike, this is a special ticket required Paul Skenes. I don't know what this means. I don't know why they're doing it, but I'm going to tell you this is going to be big. It's going to be real big, especially, again, going off of what happened with last Paul Skenes bobblehead day. Mike, what is the story? Did you check into this special ticket by chance?
I did not check into the special ticket, but I wonder if a certain dog panda hybrid will be making it down there with his cape.
You know what? Maybe. I think that'd be great. I think it would be great if Derpy would go down there and wear his Superman cape and maybe fly around the scene and everything like this. But you never know with Hollywood Derpy. He's too big for the stunts anymore.
He is.
So we will see. We got a few on now, Mike. That is the 22nd of June. My last thing on the Pirates, and then we will be moving into football, guys, is this. Brian Reynolds, the big money maker, who has been, average at best. Nobody on this team is really has a great batting average. But Brian Reynolds, he goes the other day, goes 4 for 4 in the win, Mike. 2 runs, 3 RBIs, and a walk. He comes out and says, Hannah Mears after the game asked him what it was. How did he get to this point, Mike, where he went 4 for 4? He replied by saying, just trying to be in it mentally. Just try. We're a third of the way through the season, and he's just now finding out how to get into it mentally. Mike, this is your big money maker.
Yeah, I appreciate an athlete being honest, because we bitch about that a lot. But then when they're honest, you're like, oh God, feed me a line of BS. Say, hey,
being so honest.
Say me like, you know what, my current mental approach wasn't working. I read some stuff, talked to some people. I'm going to try this approach. Oh shit, it worked. Something like that. If you're gonna BS me with a hint of truth in there. Make it sound better than all. I'm focusing now. Now I'm really dialed in.
Now I'm dialed in. We're only a third of the way through the season. We're 12 and a million.
Yeah,
I'm gonna focus now.
Like I you read the comment. At first blush you're like, what an idiot. But you think about it, like what he's trying to say. He just said it stupidly.
Right.
Come on, come on. You're making a lot of money. You're one of the faces of the franchise. You can't be saying stupid shit like that.
Yeah,
but, this is Bucko baseball, baby.
One thing you're learning about this Pirates team, that is one thing that this team does very well, is say stupid shit from the day one. With everything that Bob Nutting says is just dumb. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Even Gene Lamont, when he came, I can't remember what it was that he said, but there was definitely something new, quote worthy from him. I'm here because the team. I don't know. It was something like
it was something along the lines too, like of getting the offense going. We know we need to hit more
because we're not a professional baseball team that does need to hit night in, night out. But maybe Gene Lamont will help this team get over that hump. I'm sure they could do it. Again, the Pirates, Mike, they're 21 and 36. They have today off. They're traveling out to San Diego. San Diego tomorrow. Again, arguably, I hear some of the best weather in the country. I'd like to get a little piece of that, as May here in Pittsburgh has been not so. A lot of rain. It's been pretty soggy.
Yeah. San Diego. That means whale's vagina.
That's right, baby. I want to be in a whale's vagina today. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get into the Steeler talk. Good morning. Good morning on the board. Yinzer Joe. Good morning, John. Everybody on the board. Let's get caught up on this board, Mike. Yinzer Joe says Brawny couldn't clean up Pittsburgh sports mess. Hopefully things turn around. Good morning, Yinzer Joe. Always great seeing you, my friend. John says Terry Bradshaw's comment shed light on the Steelers fan base difference between old school thinking and current thinking. I couldn't agree more. I do have a bunch of notes right here about that particular conversation. John also says, I bet Peaches knows how to get those Skenes special tickets. You know what? You might just see Derpy and Peaches down there that day. You might. I don't.
You never know.
I don't think John's wrong. Yinzer Joe also says, I heard Cruz hit a ball 122.9 miles per hour, hardest in StatCast era. That's true.
He murdered the fuck out of that ball.
And John says, like with dating, Mike wants a plausible lie to believe.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly, baby.
Making his way in the door, I do want to say, good morning, and welcome back to Mark Malone. Always great seeing you. He says, guys, the Mason Malone stash. How can we explain him showing up to OTAs with that right after I said I was going to shave one if he gets the start? Is this a bat signal that he's the starter in week 1? I think it is. That's just my crazy opinion. But I think that he's going to be the starter, and I think that I'm going to be happy with it. But again, a lot goes into that, guys. So let's get all about that. Mike, you were all about that mustache last week. I didn't really pay too much mind. And
I liked when he had the mustache and the goatee. That looked good. Then he comes in, shaves off the goatee portion, just has the porn stash, looking like a young Tom Selleck. I might be into like a 50 touchdown season with Mason Rudolph if he keeps the Tom Selleck mustache.
Well, Mike, he did say this week, Mason on his return as a possible starter. Of course, at this point, it could be Mason. It could be a lot of different things. And Mason says it just feels good to be wanted. He says it just feels good to be wanted. If that comment, Mike, doesn't really fit the mold of what Mason Rudolph really is, what he's been, he's just that guy that you would expect to say, you know what, it feels good to be wanted, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And after the way Ben treated him, he's in the organization trying to treating him early on. No, he feels the love now.
Yeah. So you know what?
If
if
it
there's a
makes him
season,
happy, to feel that makes him play better, fuck yeah, I'm all for it.
if there's a season that I feel should be Mason Rudolph's, and again, and I feel this way because if you didn't bring him, if you didn't feel this way as the Steelers, maybe you wouldn't brought him back. I don't know if I really believe that they felt that they was bringing Mason Rudolph back to be the backup quarterback in Pittsburgh. And at the end of the day, I don't know if Mason Rudolph, again, it was a rough ride last time he was here, Mike. A lot of, maybe times he should have been out on the field. Maybe times we went over his head and got somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe this just might be Mason Rudolph's year. And I'm not saying it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
But it has a feel like if there's any year that's going to be Mason Rudolph's season, it's this season.
Yeah.
And that's for me. And right now, again, there's just so much shit we're taking and we're just throwing against the wall and hoping that it sticks. We're waiting on rookies that hasn't played any coming back from injuries. We're waiting on people that's other things going on right now. Of course, TJ Watt and DK Metcalf and people showing up to OTAs. So, I mean, at this point, with all the confusion and chaos that's basically gone on in this locker room and on his team for the past few months, let's go with Mason. Let's see what shit sticks on the wall and let's run with it. I mean, we're going to hope that we have a good running game. Our line is back, and most, just at this point in the season, they're healthy, which is great.
Which is great.
And the running game, the wide receiver situation, defense. Again, I don't know if I would go out and spend and put a lot of hope in somebody like Aaron Rodgers, because again, you really don't know what you have everywhere else either.
Yeah.
I just think he's kind of a waste. This is again my opinion. Maybe if you had something to play for, but right now I think this team is really trying to fill itself out, and it's trying to find its identity, and it just doesn't have that, Mike. It's again, it's the best case scenario for a Mason Rudolph to come out as QB1 season that I've seen in a long time.
And I know people are going to keep talking about like how he played in Tennessee. You see this in sports a lot. A guy will leave a team he played well for, even if it's like in spurts, goes elsewhere and shits the bed, then gets traded back or comes back as a free agent and,
mental reset.
And rounds back into form because they're comfortable in a place. Current example, like over in hockey, the Penguins get Riley Smith from Vegas. He was lights out for them, winning the Stanley Cup. He came here, shit the bed. We ship him back to Vegas, and he's playing like he did when he was in Vegas. Sometimes guys are like that. So you can't always look at like, oh, they left one here and shit the bed. Oh, they're going to come back and do the same thing. You have to take it how a player works. Like if you leave a job and you go to a new job and you suck there, you're like, fuck it, I'm going back to my old faithful job, and you're right back into the swing of things. So it's all about familiarity. And yeah, you're right. This season, like it should be a Mason Rudolph year. See what he has. You never know if you find a diamond in a rough. You don't have to burn a pick next year. Or you're like, hey, he's still going to be our backup for the future, and we have Howard who can be a potential starter backup, and then we'll get our guy. But if they go and get Aaron Rodgers, I'm okay with it. Whatever. Let's run it out there because they're probably thinking from their point of view, like, hey, last year up until this point, we were contenders. The offense started to shit the bed. The defense had to pick up the load, and they got tired throughout the season. Hey, if we get a quarterback who still has something left, and he showed he did down the stretch, okay, this could be our guy. I understand that line of thinking, but I wish they would just embrace this is a bridge year. We're still building the team, and let's go with it. But I respect the fact that they want to go out there and try what they think to put out a contender. I respect that, but I wish just bite the bullet and this ride out this season.
And the thing is, Mike, in all these other seasons where we expected maybe, just maybe this team could do something, it wasn't like they were in grand position to do something. It's just our mindset of being Steeler fans. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. People might give us shit and say, well, why you guys are spoiled? We're not spoiled. We haven't won a playoff game in almost a decade. And again, we haven't made a nice run in the playoffs for almost 15 years. But it is the mindset of a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. You always want to be in contention. You always want to be good. You don't want to have a season that's a waste. And we don't have many of them. Out of 60 seasons is in the Super Bowl era, we've done pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Not too many seasons on the wrong end of the line. Mike, let me jump into some of these messages.
And
we'll move on.
Coming in hot.
They're coming today. We are glad to see everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again this morning. I'm going to go way back here, Mike. I'm coming down to All right, Tortilla. Good morning, Tortilla, my friend. Great seeing you on the board as always. Tortilla says, stay classy, Pittsburgh. Always good advice.
Ron
Corey
Burgundy.
Beaver says, I'm hearing Mason is looking like a true leader on the field in OTA, so that's great news. I am hearing good things as well.
Yeah. And the guys love him. Even the old vets love Mason Rudolph.
I don't know, guys. I'm kind of wanting a guy that isn't getting any reps in at all, is what there are people saying in Pittsburgh right now. But hey, more power to it. And you know what? I've literally heard somebody tell somebody to learn football in a comment on social media because they don't want Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. The guy literally came out and said, you need to learn football. Funny. What people, yeah, you know what I mean? Come on.
Like
you don't know
football. You can know football and be like, hey, for my team, the betterment of the team in the future, in the long run, I don't want this guy.
Right.
Or if you're like, hey, man, I have a solid team. I'm like, this guy maybe has something left in the tank, get me over the hump. You take a flyer on
him. Mark Malone, 35 touchdowns, 4,200 yards. He's been calling. I swear it. You know what? If Mason Rudolph does that, we're gonna have to do something special for Mark Malone. I don't know what yet.
If it happens, I'm asking him for predictions of every player stat, and I'm betting the over or under on it.
He's coming to town, and we're taking him to the Rivers Casino. Tortilla says Montana Lamonius Craig, wide receiver number 2. That's right. We did sign a wide receiver in Montana Lamonius Craig. Mike, his number. He already has his number. He's going to be number 21. Apparently, the new pickup, wide receiver, and also a little number change for Kenneth Gainwell, the running back from Philadelphia that we obtained. He's going to be wearing number 14. So don't worry about if you've already got your DK number 4 jersey. You didn't screw anything up. You don't have to return it. Go out and get another one. Kenneth Gainwell is taking number 14. So DK Metcalf will, in fact, be number 4 this season. Next on the list is John Jones says Mason has Skenes beat with the mustache. Yeah. Well, Skenes still has junior high pimples, though. I mean, that doesn't help no matter which facial hair way you're going to go. If you still got all the pimples. But again, you know what? He has the chick, so who am I to say? Tortilla says, told y'all Mason's going to steal Skenes. You know what? He might. Corey says, Tortilla, I literally just watched his 2024 highlights like 10 minutes ago. He looks tough. We need a real wide receiver too, and I don't care who it is as long as they're good. Calvin Austin III is not it. Tortilla says DK and Watt weren't at OTAs. Rodgers was seen running around Pittsburgh. Just too many coincidences to say Rodgers isn't signing with the Steelers. I bet he signs before camp. I mean, do you want a guy that's not practicing at all? Again, he's 42 years old. And you know what? Also, Joe, I don't know. You don't know what's true anymore. I've seen that damn Aaron Rodgers in front of every Pittsburgh land anywhere. I seen him in front of the incline. I seen him in front of everywhere. This guy. I don't know if it's what's going on, but there you go. And going back to Corey, you know what? I'm hearing Roman Wilson is doing some really good things so far at OTAs as well. So hopefully Roman Wilson, if he could step into that role, that would be such a huge help. If Roman Wilson.
And hearing what he said of how he learned how to take care of his body better this year. From last year to this year, thought he had it right coming from college to pros, realized he didn't, and he said he feels like himself again. And that's awesome right there. He knew what he had to work on, went and worked on it, and for football running in shorts, he looked pretty good out there.
And the guy, I mean, he's not bad. Of course, he won a national championship with that Michigan team, and he's not a bad football player. I can't wait to see him get out on the field. Like when it matters, or preseason, whatever the best.
Yeah, I want to see preseason. I want to see what he can do out there. Let him run against the 1s or the 2s and see what he has.
Tortilla says, "I miss James Washington." You might be the only person I've ever heard say that, but you know what? Right. For what it is, all right. Kenneth says, "Good morning. Roll with Mason and let's ball." What's up, Kenneth? Nice seeing you, my friend, on the board as always. Hope your day is going well, sir. That's kind of where I'm at this point. It's you know what I mean, Mike. It could be the first year that we finally take it realistically and say this team is probably not going to win a Super Bowl this year, even though we weren't going to win one for the past 6 years.
No,
you didn't go in with the mindset of let's throw it against the wall and again let's see what sticks. I think maybe you just might get better results this way, Mike. It might surprise some people, and again, I think it might make tougher men at the end and make the team a little bit tougher if you have to go through tough times together, Mike. And again, let's move on. Mark Malone says Mason had like 130 QBR off of playoff action in Tennessee. He also follows that up by saying 4 of his interceptions clanked off a wide receiver's hands.
Oof. Those are always the worst ones.
You know what's so weird about those throws? When it's a good quarterback, it's always the receiver's fault. But if it's not a great quarterback, it's like, oh man, those four interceptions that
you bum.
They bounced off the guy's hand. But you know what? It was amazing.
You should have thrown that ball better.
Exactly.
You should have ran downfield and handed it to him.
You're right. Corey says Tortilla, I liked him as well, but there wasn't much to miss because he didn't get enough opportunity to show what he had and what he could be. Tomlin already had his guys, and he got shunned for some reason. Tortilla says next year Dan Moore will be cut and we'll sign him.
You know what? If he can be a backup, I'll take it. $80 million. $80 million, Dan Moore.
Crazy.
Who would have thought?
Kenneth says the sooner you see what Howard is, the sooner you know what to do next year. And absolutely. That's so huge. That's what I'm saying. Next year's draft is too important to piss up this season. And I'm not talking about piss it up in the sense that you don't have a good season. Maybe have a season that's a little less than you would like. Maybe that could be that, because what we're doing now isn't working. What it's doing is kicks the can down the road. We're winning just enough to get that 20 pick, as we do every year, and we land in the same position. And it's just, as I said, this draft is too big. We got to go out and stop pretending this year. Let's go out, see what we truly have. And, again, let's maybe give Mason that shot. Mark Malone, I'm sorry. Tortilla says Corey, 100% agree. Mark Malone, oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yinzer Joe says Dan Moore, maybe Pickett will be cut and signed by the Steelers too. Laughing my ass off. Kenny did have some things to say. I see him. We'll get into that just shortly about the Steelers. I didn't necessarily say anything about the Steelers, Mike, but he said something about the Steelers without saying something about the Steelers. So we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's see what else. Tortilla says, hey, you can't lose if you don't show up. Corey says Aaron Rodgers could either take us to the chip or set us back 2 more seasons. There's no real middle with him. So I know me some football. Yeah, you do know you're some foosball, and you're right. Who can listen? If one could realistically tell me with a straight face that they believe that Aaron Rodgers could be the answer and that we could win a Super Bowl, I just don't know if I could take that serious. I mean, not the person. I agree. I believe, again, our board is very, very football savvy. But come on. I mean, realistically, guys, do you think we could win a Super Bowl this year? I mean, we can't even win in the playoffs. Talking about playoffs?
Playoffs. Can't win diddly poo.
We haven't gave up less than 40 points in 8 playoff games, guys. Again, I don't know if we're going to go to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, but he's going to have to put up a lot of big numbers if he wants to break that mold. Mark Malone says, what about Caleb Johnson, Will Howard's picks? I swear I've been doing this shit for doing shit like this for decades.
You're better than, like I said on the board, better than Mel Kiper Jr.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. I tell you what, every time I doubted Mark Malone, he gets it right. So
I was on board with the Caleb Johnson, the Will Howard one, but the more I watch Will Howard, I'm like, okay, let's give the kid a shot.
Right, that's where I'm at too.
Like I like his attitude, and I'm not usually a big attitude guy, body language guy. I just want to see what you do, like how you play. But I'm starting to get into the Will Howard.
Let's see. Mark Malone. Joe Mark Malone is on Thunderbird. Mark Malone, it only works with the Steelers. 2 dumb Yinzers. Tortilla says, I heard ChatGPT will be our number 1 quarterback. You know what, though? ChatGPT might be able to make a lot of good decisions, though. Man. Yinzer Joe, Mark Malone. Let's see, Mark Malone. I bet that stuff is worse than Mad Dog 2020.
Is there anything worse than Mad Dog
No,
2020 other than like Steel Reserve?
I still taste the vomit from 1994 from that Mad Dog.
Yeah.
Kenneth says 5-12 doesn't say Rogers can. I agree. I agree. And the thing is, I mean, are we that much better than the Jets? I think we do have ultimately we're a better team than the Jets. But again, five wins, which means we have to double that and then some and continue to win in the playoffs. So again, it's a hard pill for me to swallow. This thinking that Aaron Rodgers is just going to be the savior. I think it's going to be the exact opposite, guys. I just again, so much comes with Aaron Rodgers, and just look what the extra baggage and the bullshit has done to our locker room over the past 10 years with different players, a guy here, a guy there. Sometimes you can have the best talent in the world with Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. Some might say that team with the Hall of Fame quarterback should have been able to do something. But again, a team that has been struggling on every leg pretty much. We're going to hope that Aaron Rodgers could come save the day. I don't know if it's possible or logical, guys. Mark Malone, though, he says, yes, we can. 13-4 without Rodgers, he's saying. Corey says, I drank Mad Dog when I was in deep depression. I got deep depression after I drank Mad Dog. And Tortilla says, Four Loko is worse, 1,000 times worse more than MD 2020.
Oh. See, I never had the original Four Locos, but like the local beer distributor by the studio will have like those adult slushies, and they use the new Four Locos. They're not bad.
I'm getting nauseated just reading these.
Well, yeah. Hey, just remember, 10% malt liquor.
Like I still don't get that. I don't understand what that even means. But for some reason, you can still find it on our merchandise page. Mark Malone says, I always bought the girls, Mad Dog 2020, Boone's Farm, and Zima. I couldn't drink that crap even back in the day.
Oh, Zima. Oh, that was like the first clear beer I ever saw in my life. Ugh.
And then Tortilla says, Cousins won more games than Rodgers last year, but I wouldn't say Cousins is a better option, of course. And he is not. He's not with Atlanta at this moment. Nobody knows what he's doing. He's up in the air, but he's an option, I guess, guys. Again, what is it that we really think we're gonna get out of this Steelers season? I think ultimately is the question. Kenneth says Mason will probably have some good God-inspired season and take us to the Super Bowl, and that's what I'm saying. You know what? When it comes down to feel and vibe in the locker room, I'm just feeling the Mason vibe more than Aaron Rodgers. Listen, I'm not saying he's better than Aaron Rodgers by any means.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never going to be better than Aaron Rodgers. But as you said, Mike, sometimes that kind of shit works out. You leave town, you come back, you kind of have this new look. Everybody knows you. Everybody welcomes you. Everybody believes in you.
Yeah.
Perception is a great word, Corey. And as he's just coming off the end of his last comment. But, it's... Mike, I don't know. What do you think, man? And again, I know the vibe on the show has been, let's give Mason a shot. Let's give Mason a shot. But realistically, again, sitting here this time next year, maybe a little bit earlier, heading into that draft, I just think we're going to be really happy if we run with Mason and we have, a little bit less than a year than we've been having, and we get a pretty good draft pick, and we have 12 draft picks in our pocket.
Yeah.
It's all going to be about Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers comes here. It's not going to be about your Steelers, guys. Nobody's going to turn in to watch the Steelers on Thursday night. Nobody's going to turn in to watch the Steelers on Monday night. Everyone is going to turn in to see what Aaron Rodgers is doing. This is the Aaron Rodgers, guys, this is Aaron Rodgers' farewell tour. Do you want to be the horse that he rides off on? Do we want to be remembered as the ass that kind of was used as a mockery because this guy wants to continue his little, his story? Guys, this isn't our story. We have different stories. On the board, I'm going to go right here. All right, Kenneth. Kenneth says, all right, now we got Kenneth. Corey says, maybe I was just poor because Four Loko Green Apple is great for perspective. For perception, he ended up fixing that. Mark Malone and Purple Passion. The girls always like that crap. Kenny, Rudy.
There'll be a lot of that. Just chant Rudy and just keep playing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
And I know people listen. I understand that Mason Rudolph isn't going to be the best case scenario.
No.
And we're not going to be happy, and we're not going to be jumping up and down. But when things do go well, And they're going to go well through the course of the season at different points, and we're going to learn a lot again about our running game. We're going to learn a lot about this and that and everything else. So again, I'm not against the Rudy. If something comes along, Mike, that is a better situation, but again, I'm just, the Aaron Rodgers vibe is just not sitting right with me. It doesn't sit right with me. It is not sitting right with me. Vegas TJG, what's up? Welcome to the board. Always great to see Vegas TJG. Boone's Farm was a big favorite of theirs too. Mark Malone says I had high class taste and drank Keystone Ice and Old Crow whiskey.
Nothing says high class taste,
right?
Like Keystone Light. I drank.
What did you say, Mike, before the Steel Reserve?
Steel Reserve. Oh, that shit was nasty.
Nothing says high class like Steel Reserve.
You bought that for like the annoying kid who didn't know what to drink. You get him that. Like, here you go, drink this.
It was like a goof gift, if you let that. Right? You got everybody else good shit.
Yeah. As we were sitting there downing Natty Light, like it was high class.
We were on the malt liquor thing when I was growing up. It was like Old English, it was St. Ides, it was Mickey's Big Mouth, Blue Bull. Like those were big when I was in high school, man, and they did the job. I could tell you that. Corey says I hate that we can't be high on KJ or Derek Harmon because they are too busy stressing over. Exactly. What do we know about our new guys? Very little. Very little. And you want to know why? It's because the Aaron Rodgers show. Mr. Steeler fan at the top. I'm just going to get this out of the way, Mike, because I caught it out of the corner of my eye.
Yep.
Mr. Steeler fan, I do want to say good morning and welcome to the show. Great seeing you on the board. He says, I certainly think Aaron Rodgers plays for the Steelers this year. And very well. He very well might. And I've said it over and over. If he does, you know what? It is what it is, and I'm going to support my team. Because I love my Steelers. Got to support the team. But let me catch up to it. Let's get back on the messages, and we'll get caught up to that message. Mark Malone says, LOL. Well, it does work. Vegas TJG says, drank with your pinky out too, Mr. Fancy. Mark Malone, funnily enough, I do drink with both my index finger and pinky sticking out.
He's doubly sophisticated.
He looks like, I bet you, Mark Malone, I bet he looks like Tua when he drinks. Whenever he gets hit and all his fingers go different directions.
Oh God,
that's what I'm picturing. I'm just kidding, Mark. Corey says our depth chart should be Rudolph, Howard, Trey Lance, Skylar Thompson. Then we can focus on development.
Is Trey Lance still in the league?
I don't know. We could have probably got him somewhere in that George Pickens deal. I thought he was still in Dallas.
I think he was still in Dallas too. Yeah.
Big John Stud, Middle Neg Mud says TJ Swan. Then again, back to Mr. Steeler fan. He says, I certainly think Aaron Rodgers plays for the Steelers. And as I said, the closer you get to the season, at first I wasn't so much against it. But as time goes on, and the more that I'm realizing that this is going to be nothing more than the Aaron Rodgers show, the more I don't want them. The more it feels like a Dallas Cowboy thing. The more it feels like teams that aren't us. And people say, Ryan, you got to get out of your old mindset. This isn't the 70s. I understand that, but still, it's okay to have pride in things that got it done more than anybody else ever in the league. It isn't like we're terrible in the past, guys. We kind of know what we're doing. Let's hope the new younger Roonies could pick up where the older Roonies left off. Maybe we could start seeing that change. Tortilla says, I was just going to say, when I was in high school, my friends and I would all look for loose change and get some dude to buy a Steel Reserve. The second I turned 21 with my own money, never went back. Vegas TJG, I support whoever they pick, regardless of what I'm about. That's the same with me. At the end of the day, if it's Rodgers, what am I going to do? Am I going to go support? Am I going to go be a Browns fan? It's just,
I don't know. I do have that running conspiracy theory deep down inside. You are a Browns fan.
Well, you are the Browns fan of the group.
No, I am not.
You actually live in Ohio. That's to me, that's enough.
See, Derpy's closer.
I've never even stepped foot in Ohio. I refuse. I wouldn't even go to the border to spit in Ohio.
Mocking my shitty state. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Hey, I may live in Ohio, but I was born in PA. I got the birth certificate.
Your birth certificate says where state you were born?
Yeah, it says Allegheny County. Yeah, it's Pennsylvania birth certificate.
All right,
Allegheny County.
All right, bro. Stop yelling at me. Where did you find the blank hat? You know what? It's wild about my blank hat because I have about 9 of them now. I started getting them to do this show back in 2021, and I have a source. I don't know if I want to release my source. It's like a nice pair of glasses frames. Do you tell anybody where you got those frames? All right, the big secret's out of the bag. Dollar store right here, about $7. But I do. I have many of them, Mike. I have many. As soon as one of them gets sweat stains, I start looking for getting a new one. Let's see. Corey says Aaron Rodgers will be likely going on Hard Knocks. Too much of the wrong attention. Everything about it just feels wrong to me, guys. And listen, I don't want to say anybody who wants him here is wrong. It just doesn't have a good vibe. Again, I've been watching this team for 40 years. It's just not a good vibe. If this works, why ain't everybody jumping on? They want to get Aaron Rodgers. If they feel they're a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl, which a lot of teams do, why wouldn't other teams say, well, you know what, let's try this out. Let's jump the Steelers. Let's grab this guy because he has such potential to maybe take the Steelers to the Super Bowl with all their problems. Let's go get him because he would surely take our team to the Super Bowl. I don't see teams jumping out of their seat. Again, guys, I think we'll be laughed at more than we are right now. We will look whipped. I guess it's a good term, by Aaron Rodgers. And again, when it's all said and done and the Aaron Rodgers show's over, I don't think it's going to be anything memorable besides an Aaron Rodgers walk off into the sunset. And again, it's all about his stats. In my opinion, why else? What does he have to prove at this point? What does he have to prove at this point, Mike? He was already the MVP of the league 3-4 times. He's won the Super Bowl. 42 years old. I don't think his heart is going to be getting a locker room to follow and support him to go out and win a Super Bowl. And again, I don't know if this team is quite at that point, Mike.
Yeah, they're not that point yet. But like I said, last year they can fool themselves into thinking because where they were a game out of first place in the AFC, the toughest division in the league, or the toughest conference out of the two. And hey, we get better quarterback play.
Let me ask you something real quick, Mike.
Yeah.
Where we were at that point in the season, we were one game out. We had all these tough games left to go.
Yeah.
Did you really feel like we were a good team that had a chance to make a good run in the playoffs at that point? I mean, wins over, what was it, an 18-10 win over Atlanta. Denver ended up being a pretty good team down the road, but early in the season, they weren't that great. We win this game, 12 to whatever. We were sitting, again, a game out of first, but doesn't it feel like it was by the graces? Because, again, Mike, if Justin Tucker doesn't miss 2 field goals or 2 field goals in an extra point attempt, we're not in that position. So we were kind of given almost kind of a mirage because, again, we were barely winning those games that we won. And, again, Baltimore shouldn't have been a win. Under any other circumstance ever, we lose that game. So at that point, heading into that 4-game streak, that 4 games set to end out the season against those 3 good teams in Cincinnati, did you really feel like we had a good team and we had a chance to make a run in the playoffs?
They were sitting at 10-3. They 33 points, 26 points.
But those 2 games, Mike, that Jets game, or what was the Giants game, a couple games right there in that part of the schedule. Yes, we looked good, but it was definitely because of the competition.
Yeah, you come back out against the Bayou, play Washington, a team that was on the rise at that time, playing lights out. We went in a shootout 28-27, looking good. Baltimore, that was a typical Steeler-Baltimore game, the 18-16 game.
I say Dallas and Washington wash each other out because they were both won at the very end of the game. They could have won either way. We could have lost to Washington. We could have beat Dallas. It just didn't play that way.
Yeah. In that Cleveland game in the snow,
Cleveland found a way to win. We did.
They found a way. We did. But then we come back, 44-38 against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, everyone thought they were just going to run us out of the stadium. Our offense put up points against them. Come back, a nice win against Cleveland. All right, we're sitting good. We're going to win at least 2 of these games coming down the stretch. We got to find a way, and it just didn't happen. I was confident that we would find a way to win at least 2 of those games and get ourselves a better spot. And if they can convince themselves that, hey, a better quarterback play down the stretch right there could do it, I see them. I can see them. Let's wait on Aaron Rodgers. We think we have a pretty good defense, and if they're not out there a lot like they were with this sputtering offense with Wilson and Fields, Aaron Rodgers out there who was shown to run an offense better late in the season than these two did. Okay, I can understand where they're coming from. Do I agree with it? Kind of, but I'm like in the boat right now of like this run out with what we have there now. But putting myself in their shoes, I can see where they're coming from, and I get where they're coming from because they had success last year. The defense was playing well until they were until that it just compounded to where they were out there too much, and they shit the bed down the stretch.
I'm going to jump back on the board, Mike, because we are getting a little behind here. Mr. Steelerfan says, I'm looking at the offensive line with Jones at left, Fatanu at right, a stud center with Frazier, and thinking this offense will finally produce. Oh, you know what? We haven't been through a season where an offensive lineman wasn't knocked out for the season for a long period of time.
Feels like,
Staying healthy, I think, is number one priority for this offensive line. Getting through the season with Frazier, with McCormick, I think, if he could provide a good sophomore season, and then get healthy with Fatanu, stay healthy, and then also, having taking a look at Broderick Jones and having him not put your hand on your forehead. So I mean, there's a lot of speculation. Again, two rookies coming out and having a pretty good season. Can they both live up to that sophomore season, Mike?
Yeah, and Broderick Jones seems to be got his head back on right. He came in lighter, in better shape than he did last year to the off-season programs. So that is a huge sign. He got his head on right. Yeah, for Broderick.
I don't care if the guy come back to camp 600 pounds or 24 pounds. This is Broderick's problem right here. He's got to figure out what's going on upstairs.
Yeah, and there were reports that he came in with that big head last year, and I think he was humbled. He had a decent rookie year. We started those last 9 games, played really fucking well. Came with a big head, got knocked down, and came back like Roman Wilson. Figured out what I need to do. Get it together. If he gets it together, I'm willing to, forgive last year.
All right. Kenneth says Aaron wants the spotlight. Pittsburgh isn't big enough for him. You're right. Pittsburgh is not big enough for Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's not. Aaron Rodgers is, listen, let me tell you something. Aaron Rodgers is bigger than Big Ben. Aaron Rodgers is bigger than Terry Bradshaw. Say what you will, he only won 1 Super Bowl. The guy was MVP 4 times in the league.
Mm-hmm.
The guy has passing yard, so it's not a match made in heaven like Ben was. I mean, this guy's not a Pittsburgh quarterback. Ryan, we have to move into the future. I get that. I understand that, but again, it's very un-Steeler-like, and we're looking for old Steeler results and in the new ways, and again, we're just not getting that. So let's consider that, what that means. Mark Malone says, I made a fake ID the day I turned 16. No BS. It was terrible and worked every freaking time. My friend had a really cool one and it worked. Mine always looked like shit. I used index cards and everything. It was a disaster. Mark Malone followed that up by saying, even went through a sobriety checkpoint in with a carload of drunk girls. You know what? The girls, I think that's what gets you off. I'm going to be honest. Mr. Steeler fan, it doesn't matter though. If this offense can give Rodgers time to pass and make plays, then this team will win games, especially how this defense forces turnovers, give the ball back to, you know what, Mr. Steeler fan, and that's in my opinion, that's in a perfect world. Again, that's if everything goes right. If everything goes right, which has not been the case for the Steelers for quite a few years, maybe we could do a little bit. But Mike, again, at the end of the day, getting to the Super Bowl, I think is a dream that's we're gonna have to figure out ways to beat the Buffaloes, and in Baltimore 3 times we got to play in a season, and Kansas City and the Chargers looking damn good all of a sudden with all these new pickups, and Denver's not looking like a bad team, and beating every team in our division 2 times isn't easy anymore. We split with them again last year, everybody in the division. Houston Texans. So I mean, there's a lot of things going on. Kenneth says, I'm sorry, John says Rodgers is a 1-year rental. Who has $400 million in the bank and an ego bigger than his bank account? He has no loyalty to the city or the fans and will be perpetual pain in the ass if he signs. That's kind of where I'm leaning as well, John. Kenneth says we already looked whipped. We do. We look like we're poontang whipped here by Aaron Rodgers with his big old bulging ass eyes. Corey says Aaron Rodgers' in Steeler uniform looks like end time prophecy attire of some kind. Jesus looks like evil. You know what I mean? He looks like. Have you seen this? I don't know if I ever want to get into it. Remember, I was talking about that Maudie, that guy that came out and he said he's like the Antichrist and all these people.
Yeah, that guy.
He looks just like him.
He does. Like,
he looks just like him. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him. He was at the concert shooting people with a water gun the other day. Meanwhile, he says he doesn't have enough time to make a decision what he's going to do with the Steelers because he has so much hardship going on in his life. And I think he's the Maudie. Vegas TJG. I'd like to see Will get a real shot before the 2026 draft. He might be the one, but we'll never know if he's in perfect position to be the next Mason Rudolph. If you think about it. What if they go out and get their guy, Mike, and he turns into the guy year in, year out? We're like, give Will a chance. Come on, just let Will play. Yeah. Will had those three. Will had 3 good games in a row 3 years ago.
Like my ideal scenario is like let Mason play, and if he does well, keep him in there. But if he starts to not play that well, put Will Howard in there and let's see what we got.
We got to. I agree.
Listen, I'm not saying throw don't be afraid. And still don't be afraid to draft a quarterback in round 1.
Mike, you got 20 damn near 20 games. You got 3 in a preseason, 17. You have 20 games, maybe a playoff game. Will Howard definitely should play at some point this year. I don't listen. I don't believe that. Don't let the guy touch the field for the first year. If you get an opportunity to see him play, you're not throwing him into the wolves. You're taking a look at the guy. It's football. It's football.
If a game starts to get out of hand either way, throw him in there and let him get some reps and to see what happens. Even if it's against the other team's backups, at least it's NFL backups. Let him go out there and get some reps.
Yeah, and again, preseason isn't enough, Mike. Again, a lot of the guys he's going to be facing, and he'll play a lot, but understanding that it's mostly second string and on. Because you get the first string guys, they get out, they get their reps and they're out of the way.
Yeah.
So, and depending on how far you play into the game, then you're seeing guys that aren't going to be in the NFL in a couple months. I don't know how beneficial, but you do have to see Will Howard. You can't not see him. Come on, you drafted a quarterback. Let's take a look at him at least. Yender Joe says exactly Steeler fan. Roger sells tickets, fills the seats, and he is a proven winner. He's just on a bad team last year, and he is still did better than our starters and Rudolph. Yeah.
He's not wrong.
We're not. I mean,
I don't disagree.
But my question is, where are we compared to the bad team that he was on last year? Have we really been as head and shoulders better than the Jets over the past 5 years? I mean, the records may indicate, but again, why? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I just don't know if we're as good as we feel that we are at this point. Are we just a quarterback away? Still a lot remains to be seen, guys. Mark Malone says we're going 13-4, probably the number 2 seed in the playoff. And listen, guys, if that's I
want that.
We will celebrate together. Believe me. If these things happen, I'm not arguing. I'm just trying to make points.
I'm starting to think Mark Malone's an oracle. He knows something.
That's true. Wait a minute. Yeah, didn't he make the? Yeah. Keep track of his keep track of all his credentials and his notes and everything else.
Does he have a DeLorean? Is what I want to know.
Mr. Steeler fan, very few 4-time MVPs walking around. Most teams don't need Aaron Rodgers. We're the one of the few who can use his services. He's a better passer than Wilson. There's no two ways about it.
Oh yeah,
he's absolutely, and I'm never going to argue that. Aaron Rodgers, even in both of their heyday, even in Russell Wilson's heyday, Russell Wilson was not as good of a passer as Aaron Rodgers. Again, a 4-time MVP in the league. That says something. But again, in a young league, 2 years ago, he can't make it through a series, goes down, snaps the foot. Last year, 5 wins. And with the Jets, all right, that equals out to probably about 8 wins on a normal team. Mark Malone, our offense sucked balls. It won't this year. We'll be kicking ass. Remember the 11-0 offense. It sucked balls too. You're right. 11-0 offense might have been one of the worst offenses we've ever had. They couldn't catch a football. But that was unbelievable. We got to have a whole hour talking about that particular team that forgot how to catch a football mid-season after starting 11-0. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Mr. Steeler fan, Aaron is one of those rare players that could actually still zip the ball around. His arm is there. This is undoubtedly true. Give him time in the pocket, and this team will scare teams. Where let me ask Steeler fan, where does the team fall for you if Aaron Rodgers does come? Do they fall in the category with your Buffaloes and Kansas Cities and Baltimore? Is that where you're thinking? I'm just trying to feel you out. I'm not contesting what you're saying. I'm just trying to get a better understanding. Vegas TJG, I'm sorry. Terribly sorry. It would be nice to get a W in Chicago. The all-time record there is terrible. We have those teams. Absolutely. They're one of them teams that we just don't have a good record. They've been around since the beginning of time. So they played us a lot between 1933 and 1972, which means they probably won a lot of games. And even lately, you're right. We just don't do great in Chicago. Mr. Steeler fan says it'll be great watching Rodgers in this offense, putting up 30 on the Jets. Mark, and again, I hope you're right, bro. If that's the case, I hope you're right. I want to win more games than that. Come on. We all want to win for sure. Mark Malone, Johnson will be breaking off long runs left and right. Mason will see again. These are all best case scenario things that I'm hearing, and it's really hard after watching this team over the past 5 years to even think that. Again, I hope I'm wrong. Tortilla, I've heard reports that Fields has been struggling at OTAs. I've seen the same thing over New York. Doesn't mean much, but it makes us look better as of right now. Kenneth Jones says Jones looks fit. He's got to get fit right here, though. Mark Malone says Jones looks super trim for sure. Vegas says hopefully the tackles won't both pull and run into each other again this year. I never saw that even in
remember when the guards wasn't like 3 years ago?
They were blocking each other.
In preseason, it kept happening over and over and over again. Oh, God.
Mr. Steeler fan, I have faith in the offensive line this year. Andy Weed will help build the offensive line in Philadelphia. We are seeing that now from the assistant GM of the Steelers.
Well, you've noticed in the past couple drafts, like we addressed the O-line, now swinging back to the D-line. That's what Philly did to catapult themselves.
And that's generally what the way the Steelers drafted for years and years
inside out. Draft inside out.
It works. Good. You know what? Teams that do it long term and they stick with it and they stay committed, it works.
Yeah.
Tortilla, 12 bridges ain't enough to bring in Rodgers. Effort, bring back the 7 bitches. That'll reel them in. Mark Malone, Rodgers can tune in to OTAs from his mind, though. Could Ben or Terry do that?
That's true. That's true. He got the right psychedelics for it, baby.
Mr. Steeler fan, if everything goes right, we are talking 2 first-round offensive tackles and a stud center means expectations are high for this up. No two ways about it. I like this offensive line for the future. Moving forward, I mean, these are the guys. This is what the draft of the past 2 or 3 seasons was all about. Getting that solid offensive line so you can start working on all those other things. Vegas Steelers have basically a draft and a half with so many rookies from last year coming. You're right. I mean, we haven't seen Roman play. We haven't seen Fatanu play.
Corey Trice has played go back another draft. He's only played a handful of snaps.
Let me get a couple of these, Mike. Then we'll get back into some more Steeler scoop here. A Steeler fan said, Mark Malone, people don't understand even when Aaron Rodgers isn't there. He's there always.
Omnipresent, baby.
Mark Malone, Mr. Steeler fan, absolutely. He doesn't go out. He doesn't go to dark places just to chill out. Tortilla, we all go through grief in different ways. Rodgers has to hide in a cave and shoot water guns. Stephon Diggs has to give out cocaine.
That was the best. That video where he just didn't care, just whipping out the coke like it was nothing.
People, I'm loving Rodgers to DK all day. I mean, it could be a pretty sight. It could be a pretty sight seeing that, Aaron Rodgers and DK connect. And I don't get me wrong, it could, a lot. It could wave a lot of towels. It could get a lot of towels waving if it does. Again, in my opinion, guys, you kind of need a perfect situation for this all to work out. And where are we going to get the luck all of a sudden? Ireland, maybe, Mike. We could maybe bring some luck back from Ireland.
Yeah, baby.
Joe says, does everyone know that Arthur Smith was a LaFleur disciple? Aaron runs that offense in his sleep. He doesn't need OTAs like the rest of the team. See, that's where I think everybody needs to be there. Whenever there's stuff with its team involved, it's a team game. So you'd kind of like to prepare with your team, right? Because these are guys you're going to go out into the battle with. I don't want to go into a war with a guy that's been dicking around, and I got to go in the foxhole with this guy. He has, he hasn't been shooting his gun. He hasn't been. I don't know. Again, 5 wins in New York equals 8 wins to me anywhere else. I'm still not impressed with that. Again, 2 seasons ago, can't make it through a series. It just has disaster with all the stuff that he brings. It will be the Aaron Rodgers season, guys. Your 2025 Steelers season will be the 2025 Aaron Rodgers year. Do what you want with that. Danica said Aaron was mentally abusive. He's abusing our fans right now. Yinzer Joe, where did you hear this? Mr. Steeler fans referring to Yinzer Joe's last message. Corey says the Jets have been in a lot of close game. That's not a bad team. They have better players at skill positions than we do. At corner and receiver, and they got some young studs, man. Say what you want, and for a team like us that hasn't been playing well, I wouldn't put us head and shoulders above that Jets team just yet. I think we have to do some winning before we could do that again. We could ride this reputation of being the Pittsburgh Steelers. But what's that gotten us? We got to start doing some smart things, because we haven't obviously been doing that for 10 years. And people would have argued that 10 years ago, and they would have said, "Well, you're just a Tomlin hater." 5 years ago, well, this is another this. Guys, we're a decade into this, kicking the can down the road. We have to start making some smart moves and smart decisions on this team, and things got to start going right for us, which they haven't really gone too well for us over the past few. Vegas says, what else is there to do in Buffalo besides that tortilla? Tortillas is fair enough. Mike, no DeLorean, but I do have a V8 powered Fiero.
Fuck yeah, baby.
Joe LaFleur was offensive coordinator in Tennessee in 2018. Smith was there too, tight end coach at the time.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that little crossover.
All right, Mr. Steeler fan, we will win the North with Aaron Rodgers as Q. You know what? And we also forget that Baltimore's been really, I read that they have like the second or third most complete team in the league. You figure they brought over DeAndre Hopkins to add to that passing game, and it's going to be tough to win this division, guys. But I like the optimism. He says Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for 18 weeks, number 3 seed, and maybe just perhaps 2nd seed. I wish. I hope you're right, man. Corey says if Aaron Rodgers come, we'll go 10-6, 11-7, 10-7, 11-6, and lose a playoff game, and we will get pick 22 in the draft, and won't be able to get the best QB available behind. And blah 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 blah. Yes, it is what it is. We know this, Corey. The writing's on the wall, right? Did you guys already start mocking the 2026 draft?
Don't kink shame me. Don't kink shame me. I love the draft.
We are too total.
I can do, like, I don't know. I like the regular season, but I love the off season.
Mike, we are too polar opposite on that, because I hate mock drafts.
I love them.
Mike, he lives by them.
I love the possibilities of building the roster. But I love watching the game, so I'm fucking weird.
Who goes on vacation to sit in the dark? Aaron Rodgers does. This fucking jackass does. Mark Malone,
hotel room.
He's teleporting to work, Mike. Maybe he's teleporting to the OTAs. What's going on? He's really there right now.
We just don't. He signed his contract. He is time traveling.
We just don't get him. Is what it is.
Maybe he gave Rooney some ayahuasca, and they're both just vibing. I'd love to see that.
Yinzer Joe, I'm starting to believe Mark Malone writes NFL scripts. We better have a winning playoff season. Tortilla, it's true. Rodgers doesn't need OTAs, but it certainly helps the rest of the offense. Exactly my point. Yes, it may not be beneficial for him. Maybe he could read a defense better than any other quarterback in the league right now. But don't you think the guys want to be around him that are going to be playing with him in game time situation? Learn his cadence, learn his voice, learn his snaps. I mean, you're going to come in at the last minute, throw a series together in the preseason game, throw a half maybe in another one, and expect to be okay for the season, and then wonder why this team is no good again? Guys, they got to get back to making smart decisions, things that make sense. in a perfect world, Aaron Rodgers could be a very great situation, guys. But come on, has there been anything that shows you that's even remotely close to being reality? Aaron Rodgers didn't do well. We didn't do well. Let's bring them all together and hope that they could do great and go to the Super Bowl. Mike, it's retarded, kind of.
Well, Russell Wilson's and Fields were there for all the OTAs, and we saw what happened.
Mike,
so let's try it this way.
Well, one guy's a midget, and the other guy's never really played, had good seasons in Chicago. But that was just me. I mean, other people made other things out of it. But people did expect again. Bringing the future Hall of Famer that's going to be in a Hall of Fame. We did have big dreams.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think the dreams might be a little bit bigger than reality with this Aaron Rodgers thing. Richard, what's up, brother? Richard, nice seeing you this afternoon on the board. Find our luck in a box of Lucky Charms. Can Henry do it all over after again? Can Henry do it again and again after last season? Kenneth, I'm excited about our running game, defensive and offensive line. I'm too. I'm ready to watch the trenches. I'm ready to watch I want to see a healthy offense and defensive line finally.
Yeah. Yep.
He Richard follows it up by saying, I still don't understand why people want Aaron so bad. I don't get it either. I think people think that it's just going to be, it's going to work like magic. It's going to be like throwing a Band-Aid on and we're going to be a really good team. I think more points to the opposite. Steeler fan, Henry is going to be 32 years old this season. Can his body go again as well as last season? I think so, because they have so much other shit going on in that offense, where somebody like him is going to be able to do his thing, because you have to worry about their quarterback probably more than anybody else on the offense. And again, new receivers and decent receivers, and you bring in DeAndre Hopkins as a 3 or 4 or 5 somewhere on the chart, on the depth chart. You're in a pretty good spot if you're Baltimore. And you know what? Their defense ain't that bad either. It's happening against Joe. Mark Malone, Steeler fan. Okay, Henry carried the ball 325 times last season. That's a workhorse. Can he do it all over again? I don't know if he's going to have to do that. Vegas.
He's in great shape too. So if he, treats his body right, I think he can do it.
Well, I mean, on one hand, we're saying, is he going to do well with, carrying the load as a 32-year-old? We want a 42-year-old quarterback to lead us to the promised land. So, I mean, once you kind of use the logic both ways, I think it starts to, come into. Vegas, the force of Aaron is at the OTAs. Can he can ESP all that shit, like all of it right now. Richard says chemistry between players is super important. I agree. I couldn't agree more. It's your workplace in your life. As a younger person playing sports, it's very, very important going into a game situation with people that you're comfortable and you know what move they're going to make next. And maybe he knows, but if the other 10 people on the field aren't on the same page, that's a problem, guys. Tortilla, Rodgers used a Jedi mind trick on Rooney. Maybe that's what's going on here. This all seems so crazy. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe
we're all tripping together, like Mark Malone's saying. Yeah,
we're all victim of the head games of Aaron Rodgers.
He's like the Joker, man, just like giving everyone the crazy shit in the comics.
Mark Malone, maybe he dropped a couple of hits of acid in Rooney and Tomlin's drinks during their meeting. You know what? Joe, OTAs are not full contact. They are just drills, typically for coordinators to see the new guys run. Everyone knows what Rodgers, DK, and Watt can do when you get to camp. But let me say this. How many times over the past couple of years, Mike, have we said, if this guy would have gotten a little bit more time in preseason, or if this guy would have been active during camp and not maybe he might have picked up in week 1 and had a really good season. Some of these guys that don't participate till late, they always have that they kind of get that's what am I looking for? What word am I looking for? You could always say, well, you know what? He only played one preseason game. So, screw that. Make him, come to practice like every other normal athletic team ever in the history of American sports. You go to practice and then you play the games. What's hard about that? It is such an idiotic Aaron Rodgers situation, guys. And again, this is what we're inviting. We want this. Like any team, anywhere, you have to practice with your teammates if you want to play. It's.
The thing is, though, like with Rodgers, he's not under contract.
No, you're right. He's not, and nobody's saying that he is.
Yeah, but like with DK and Watt, like, yeah, these are voluntary, but at least with like DK and Watt, they have been around the facility and all that stuff. They've been there, they working in and out. I get it. What's going to be really concerning, even if Rodgers isn't signed in June, when that mandatory minicamp comes, where's TJ Watt going to be? To me, that's the big story that luckily Aaron Rodgers is drowning out. Is the TJ Watt saga. That's going to be huge because no matter who's quarterback.
The thing is, that's the only reason, Mike. Again, OTAs, it's going to definitely be magnified once we get to camp in July. But Mike, this is the only reason. Yes, Aaron Rodgers' story is so big. You're not even caring about the TJ Watt contract, people.
Yeah, to where
you're not thinking about, you know what, TJ Watt didn't show up to OTAs. There's a contract issue. How many times have you thought about that issue over the past week or so? It's Aaron Rodgers. So that's not going to change. Once he comes here, it's not about Aaron, or it's not about TJ. It's not about the Steelers. It's not about watching the Steelers on Sunday night, whatever the big primetime game is. It's going to be the Aaron Rodgers show. I hope we know what we're asking for this, guys. Again, New York was good for him with the media. Pittsburgh, somebody mentioned earlier in the show on the board, this town is not big enough for the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but like, to me, that the big story is TJ Watt, because he wants to be paid more than Myles Garrett. He wants to make $40 million a year. 40 mil. Hey, get the F out of here.
Mr. Steeler fan, running backs are hit more than quarterbacks, especially 325 times in a season. It's a brutal position. But you know what? That guy's really shown no sign of you know what I mean? If he's been injury prone or missed a lot of time because of such, I would look at that differently. But there's really been no sign of slowdown for Derrick Henry, especially with a good team, a well-rounded team all around him. I think that only plays to his benefit. Corey says we wouldn't even be talking about AR if an option if Brady didn't have that 1 year of success in 2020. And maybe that's what people are thinking. Maybe they're thinking he's just going to come here and we're going to win a Super Bowl because Tom Brady did it. Now, for one, he's not Tom Brady. He's not even close to Tom Brady. One guy has 7 Super Bowls. The other guy has 1. He kind of had that opportunity with New York. Why didn't he do, again, New York it's not a bad team. They got nice skill players. No two ways about that. Mr. Steeler fan, I think we have addressing Henry on defense this offseason. It's important that we have done so. Henry destroyed us last year. It was embarrassing. I think Baltimore just becomes a little bit more difficult for us, though. Again, Mike, we should have lost to them 3 times last year. Justin Tucker doesn't miss 2 field goals and an extra point. We did lose to them 3 times last year. I think they become a little bit more difficult for us as we continue to try to figure out what way is up.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time, too, because we've been dominating that rivalry. It's about time for the pendulum to swing back the other way.
You're right.
You can only beat them the way we have been at that clip for so long before, it catches you. And it started last year.
Let's get a couple of these messages, Mike. Then we want to get into some new topics for this Steeler talk today. Right here, Tortilla says Tomlin's been on acid since he started talking about nameless gray faces and painting barns. Kenneth says short of a QB, I think we have the talent of elite teams minus maybe a wide receiver too, but Wilson or Rock Taylor might be that. Andrew Joe says DK and Watt also have contracts, not Rodgers. Tortilla says maybe we'll just call them the Pittsburgh Rodgers this year. The Pittsburgh Rodgers. And then he follows that up by saying exactly, Aaron Rodgers kisses his own ass on the lips. Tom Brady kisses his kids on the lips. They're totally different people. Let's get into some more topics for today, Mike. Let's move forward a little bit here. Let's talk about these comments by Terry Bradshaw. We might as well because it's kind of related to Aaron Rodgers. So let's get on this, Mike. Some Terry Bradshaw, and I know what you're going to say. Your eyes are already saying that he's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. and we shouldn't listen to Terry Bradshaw. I could already see it in your eyes, Mike, but let me tell you about some of the things that he did say. He said this. He said that the pursuit of Aaron Rodgers is a joke. He says he needs to stay in California and chew on some bark. He needs to stay in California and whisper to the gods. Nothing short of plenty to say, Terry Bradshaw. I'm like, is this just old man crazy talk? Or is, if you dig deep down far enough into this guy actually is making sense?
This is Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw talks shit on Big Ben up until the end of Ben's career. Then finally he started to be nice to Ben. This is Terry Bradshaw, who, when he retired, wanted nothing to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is Terry Bradshaw, who is rambling incoherently on Fox trying to narrate highlights, who should have retired 15 years ago. So what Terry Bradshaw does. Terry Bradshaw talks out of his ass, makes himself a spectacle.
So is he wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So you're big for Aaron Rodgers coming here.
I'm big for if the team thinks that he's gonna make the team better.
Mike, they thought Mason Rudolph was the right idea a couple years ago. What this team thinks is the right idea. Yeah. I right now say, like on Seinfeld, The Summer of George, do the opposite by all means.
But this is Terry Bradshaw. He's hated the Steelers ever since he left here.
Let's take his name out. Let's take those comments and put them in an unknown person's mouth coming out. Now, I this is why I brought it up this way, and I started the way I did, because I knew you were going to go this angle. Let's just say these comments came from somebody else that wasn't Terry, out of crazy Terry, who made comments about this or that and the other. You still think that these comments are not good comments? Do you think that we should do the opposite?
Yeah, I said, I really have no qualms about them trying to get Aaron Rodgers and working with him to.
None of the negative stuff is affecting you at all.
No, because off the field shit doesn't bother me, because it's more of a media thing driven. The players they tune that shit out, and there's game time and they go and play.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, let me catch a couple of these real quick, Mike. We're kind of caught up on the board, so I'm afraid to lose.
I know. The way it's been flying in and out today.
Mr. Rogers Neighborhood folk. There it goes, Mike. There's your there's your thing. Corey says Tom Brady made sense until he said, "I like Kenny." I'll Terry Bradshaw. Pittsburgh ruined him. Credibility denied. Yeah, he did. What did he said? It was Pittsburgh made the. But you know what? Again, is he wrong? Everything around Kenny didn't exactly go well. Before Kenny, after Kenny, this was still a team that was getting blown out by 40-some points, in the playoffs. So again, the ramblings of a crazy man, or everything that he says has a bit of truth in it. Tortilla, the only thing that Terry was right about was the people in California chew on bark. Other than that, he just sounded like an ex-girlfriend. And then Yinzer Joe says Bradshaw and Tomlin are sharing the same drugs. Where do we get these drugs?
Where do we get these drugs? Because I need some better drugs.
Let's see what else we have here. I thought I had one more thing here that Terry said, but I'm not seeing it. Here's something quarterback related. Mason Rudolph. Roman Wilson says he believes that Mason Rudolph is an elite quarterback. That's what I'm saying. The Steelers are so effed up in their head right now. They don't know what's up, what's down. I mean, come on. This guy thinks that Mason Rudolph is an elite quarterback.
Roman Wilson wants Mason Rudolph to be the quarterback so he can get the ball. This is pure wide receiver.
Mike, he's going to be wide receiver too. What are you talking about?
Hell yeah, he's manipulating. He's already manipulating the quarterback. I like this growth from Roman Wilson. Oh yeah, my quarterback's elite. He knows he's getting the ball 30 times a game.
Larry Ogunjobi says every player wants out of that mess in Pittsburgh. The people in charge are clueless. Full stop. Again,
Larry O wanted out of here so bad.
Let me ask you, are you seeing anything different than any of these people are saying? Yes, you're jumping to the fence and saying this person is Terry Bradshaw, this person is Ogunjobi, this person hasn't played but have you seen anything that's different than what these guys are saying, Mike? Are you so just thrilled with what's going on with this team?
Let's see. Larry O re-upped how many times with the Steelers? So he was really ready to get out of there.
Just take the card. Let's take the people out again, Mike. You're taking. Well, Larry did this. Terry said that.
Larry's the one who said it, so I have to take Larry's thoughts and actions together.
But
that's what he said.
Again, I understand that,
but
you're not addressing what's being said. You're basically deflecting on the person themselves. I want to know your response to the actual quote itself.
So Larry, people want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Why?
They all love it when they get there. They want to work for
Coach. Why are people re-signing? Why do guys re-up their contract here then? If they want to get, if everyone wants to get out of here, why does TJ Watt?
A lot of people do. They fly the coop. It's a business, Mike.
Yeah, but if that's the case, why aren't these guys?
Do you think if somebody paid them more, they wouldn't want to go there? If
anyone pays me more, I'm going there.
Exactly. So if you're going to
answer that way, I'll go.
That is the direct response to what you're saying. We do have to go on. Like we do have to move. Exactly, because the Steelers are paying them the money. That's why they keep choosing. We were still willing to roll with Kenny until he got scared of competing with Russ. Also, Corey says Kenny wasn't that talented, though. His attitude ruined him. All he had to do was compete for the job. Then he would have started in 2024 and showed us it was stupid to bring Wilson in if he was so good. Exactly. None of these quarterbacks are coming in and really making improvements is what we're not addressing. We're getting the same results with every single guy. Mark Malone. I mean, Kenny Pickett had the same success as the guy that's going to walk into the Hall of Fame in 5 years after Russell Wilson retires. Mark Malone, I still adopt George's opposite philosophy sometimes. I mean, you have to. And agree 100%. Corey Tortilla says, Mike, but let's get to some more fun topics here. Here's a couple. Let's jump to the defensive side of the ball, Mike, because there's been some talk about the caliber of edge rushers that we do have. Of course, TJ Watt. We don't know if this contract is going to be resolved, and I think this is a pretty big story that nobody's talking about. The one that's probably going to matter more when it's all said and done than if Aaron Rodgers, whatever. But Mike, TJ Watt is ranked number 3 edge rusher in the NFL heading into the 2025 season, number 3. Is that fair? Is it too high? Is it too low? Where does TJ Watt belong in that list to you, Mike? Number 3 is where they have him.
No. He's dropping down that list for me. You know, you still got to put
17.5 sacks.
Yeah, he had 11.5 last year. TJ Watt did.
Okay, good going.
Yeah, but let's see. Hendrickson had 17.5. Garrett 14. Kyle Van Noy 12.5. Daniel Hunter 12. Greenland 12. Micah Parsons 12. Their numbers were better than Watt's, and we saw Watt, do nothing down the stretch. So to put him top 3, maybe not. Top 5, yeah, but top 3, no.
The league not only thinks that he's the number 3rd overall, Mike, but the league is. Well, they believe whoever this is that's making this up. I don't know. It was a PFF. They're saying TJ's number 3 overall. They're saying Alex Highsmith is 13 overall, and Nick Herbig is 32 overall. Mike, who's very happy to be getting these first team reps at practice this week. Again, some of the guys that actually want to be there might outperform you, and again, that could go a long way maybe in deciding your contract situation. You want Myles Garrett numbers. But you have a guy that's right on your ass who's probably going to be, if not as productive as you are, Mike. When Nick Herbig gets time, the guy makes plays. So again, this guy's taking advantage.
Yeah.
And the other guy, again, nobody even knows what's going on with TJ because it's not a story right now.
Yeah.
Mike, but three top edge rushers, in the top 32 overall.
I agree with that. Like I don't think he's top 3. I think top 5. Or they had Highsmith. Yeah. Herbig, that makes sense. Whereas Herbig, I think he's more just a pass rusher. He's not going to be a complete pass rusher and run stuffer. So you got to move him around there. But real quick, back to TJ Watt. He wants $40 million a year. The year he won NFL or Defensive Player of the Year, he made $8 million. He had 22.5 sacks. For $40 million, I want to see 25 sacks. You want that money, you got to rise the expectations. And part of the reason this will not become an issue, the Pittsburgh media is all about TJ Watt. Like they're all like, yep, pay him. He deserves all this money.
They ain't so much about him right now.
Look what he does. Give him that money.
Ain't nobody to talk about him if we get that other guy. Patrick Queen says he believes that it's important for all players to be at OTAs. Yep. So, I mean, come on. Athletes are going to tell you. Anybody that cares get to work. This is kind of what we do. You have an off season. We all have off seasons. Everybody has things going on in their lives. We want you here. We want you here. Shouldn't that mean something if your teammates, you know, they kind of say, you know, we kind of hope that he gets here so we could work together.
Especially if you're angling for a new contract and you did not have a great end to the season, you think you would be there.
Spice, and the thing is about Herbig, Spice, and welcome to the board as always.
Yeah, it's been a while. Welcome back.
But when he gets an opportunity, that motor on that, and again, you know, just a second year in the league last year, he can be and has shown signs to be as productive as what at certain situations, certain times. Maybe with the reps that'll get better. Maybe with the confidence, but again, I like this young crop of linebackers that we've been drafting over the past 5 years, 3 or 4 years, Mike. I mean, the Peyton Wilsons, the Herbig, somebody else we just got, Mike. I'm really into these guys. I think they're going to be great. Jack Sawyer moving forward. Yeah. So let's hope that those guys can continue the ways because, again, you know, TJ is not getting any younger. But I do say thank you for the comment. And it's always great to see you on the board, Spice.
I love Nick Herbig. No. If you want to go by PFF stats, which a lot of people swear by, 91.5 pass rush grade. That's 4th out of all edge rushers. They're like, yeah, that's in limited size. I just want to see them mix him in more, give him more of an opportunity. I don't think he's going to be an every down player, but if he's someone that you can get in there in obvious pass downs, mix him on the outside, move Watt to the inside, let him blitz from there, they can do a lot of things on this defense.
Yinzer Joe says, Mason will be this year's Mitch Trubisky. I pray it doesn't come to fold. All of our quarterbacks aren't better than Pickett. We need a solid quarterback right now to compete. Got to be Rodgers. Corey says the issue with ranking is they aren't always specific. Overall, TJ should be 1 or 2 since being drafted, but in 2024, he was like 6 or 7. Tortilla says Money Mitch was the worst quarterback I've ever seen. That's saying something. Duck Hodges, he's saying looked better.
I don't know. We watched Jim Miller for a half.
It was the longest half I've ever seen. That might have been worse. September 1996 against Jacksonville was the longest half I've ever seen. Mark Malone, Watt will have another 20-plus sack season. I hope you're right, man. Corey, I firmly believe Howard is better than Kenny. Just watch. Well, I mean, he did win a national championship. That should say something about the guy. I'm not here to argue it. Nobody has played a down, but I'm willing to bet he will be better. Kenneth says money for TJ is another reason to roll with Mason. Tortilla, that's why Pickens look too good. If you throw him an accurate pass, he drops it. But if you throw him a pass 20 feet over his head, he'll do his spinning back flip, do somersaults, snag that thing in the air, drink a cup of coffee one-handed, and bring it down. Mark Malone, $40 million isn't much with today's cap, but we're gonna have to be starting a couple of years from now, maybe after a rookie contract or so. We're gonna have to pay some quarterback money. We're gonna want to keep that in consideration.
Yeah, so now that's getting into like quarterback money,
right? Quarterback, right? Who touches the ball every down? Who makes takes the way the game goes? Richard says TJ isn't worth the money he's asking for between injuries and lower sack numbers last year. Jen on the board. Hey, happy afternoon. Where you're at, good morning. She says, pay TJ. And then Tortilla follows that up by saying, yes, pay TJ.
So we can lose in the playoffs again with him.
Mike.
I'm not hating on the guy, just, pointing up the facts.
That's what we do. That's what we try to do on this show, for sure.
Don't get me wrong. He's won us some games, but when we needed him in the playoffs,
imagine how many games we didn't win, Mike, if he doesn't punch a ball out.
Exactly. I'm not shitting on the guy.
Many of the games that we won had to do with him, in some capacity.
But one sack in the playoffs.
Mark Malone says TJ is worth it for sure. Joe Herbig is a pass rusher. He can't stop runs. You're right. You're right. I just don't know if any of our pass rushers. I mean, is TJ a great run stopper? He literally runs 9 yards straight up the field when a guy runs. He's supposed to be staying at home and getting that outside, cutting that outside. But
when he does stay at home, he's fucking phenomenal at it.
But the guy doesn't.
That's the problem. We can we won't have to pay a franchise quarterback franchise money for 5 years, but I don't want to tie up all $40 million of my cap into one guy who has a history of disappearing down the stretch and in the playoffs. I'd rather spend that money on more wide receivers, more quarterbacks.
Mike, don't put all your money into one stock, right?
Yeah,
it's not good.
Yeah,
unless it's your quarterback. Why put all your money?
Yeah, and especially someone like people want to say last year, the reason his production dropped is because he was hurt, which I don't remember him on an injury report. Why am I giving $40 million to someone who gets hurt at the important time of the year?
I mean, I guess you can.
And he's 32 years old. He's coming up on the end. Like, you know what I mean, though? Like, like we talked about this with the other day. James Harrison, that's someone still producing that who you would give the money to him because he was a guy who produced game in, game out in big situations. TJ Watt's not. Cam Hayward's not. And it's okay to admit that. I like TJ Watt. I like Cam Hayward. I like watching them play, but can't live in fantasy land here. That's just my thought.
All right, let's
I could be wrong, which I often am.
Steeler fan, QB money. They won't have to pay a franchise quarterback for another 5 years. You could pay Watt. Mark Malone, he'll pull double the Hulk Hogan football punch outs. Tortilla says, without TJ, we aren't in the playoffs. Mr. Steeler fan, if they draft one in 2026, they won't be negotiating long term until 2030. Watt will be done by. I think you're kind of missing going according to what we just said, you're right. But again, do you want to keep putting all your money into that one basket? I think is the point that's being made. There's a lot of other positions that we could certainly be improving in as well. If you're going to get a guy that does basically the same, again, a guy that's not going to stop the run, just like TJ doesn't stop the run well, and you could get somewhat of a production out of him as far as sacks. Why not save money, spend money at other positions? Because we're not getting what we need with giving all of the money to TJ Watt and Cam Hayward. We're just not getting the results on this team, and nor will you if you continue to take. Again, if you're buying stocks, do you put all your money into two particular stocks? No, you got to make everything good. You can't give two guys all the money, right?
No, and you factor in, Minkah Fitzpatrick. We're at those two guys count $71 million against the cap. Like, what have we won with them? What has Minkah done recently?
Minkah's done nothing the past few years. The past 2 seasons. Come on, what is Minkah Fitzpatrick compared to what we got early when we thought we really had a steal, and the guy was making game-changing plays at the end of the game, every game with an interception or something. One of these three guys, Mike, we have to. One of these three guys have to go.
Then you add in Alex Highsmith. There's $89 million of your cap, so it leaves you with roughly like around $200 million to spread elsewhere. But what have those guys? What have they done? Like Alex Highsmith, when healthy, produces, but he misses games a lot too. And that's just like, spend more money on the offense. We go down until Pat Frymuth, our 6th player on the team, is when we finally have our highest paid offensive player.
And that's not good. Because
that's not good. You can we don't.
Tight end that never gets the ball thrown to him. Let's pay him most money on the offense.
Yeah, we're paying a 34-year-old Darius Slay $10 million.
And guess what? No one else is going to address this whole season if they bring Aaron Rodgers here. Any of these issues, it's just going to get kicked down the road.
It's just if I'm building a team, like I'm going to allocate my resources elsewhere, because you've run a platoon of Sawyer and Herbig out there for a year, build for the future. We let Joey Porter retire a Miami Dolphin, and he won a Super Bowl here. Franco Harris retired to Seattle Seahawks. He won Super Bowls here. So.
Which is odd because Pittsburgh generally keeps guys way too long. I mean, look at our hockey team. Look at our,
I mean, Lawrence Timmons went elsewhere. Levon Kirkland, he didn't win a Super Bowl, but he was a damn good middle linebacker, went elsewhere. Chad Brown, he spent half his career in Seattle, was a great player here. Like, don't be afraid to move on from these guys. Nostalgia does not win you championships. Rod Woodson, arguably the best cornerback in Steeler history, and that's saying a lot because we had Mel Blount. Went and played for the Baltimore Ravens to win a Super Bowl. This shit happens. You got to let these guys move on.
Mike, I agree with Terry. Terry says Terry Bradshaw is right, but an alcoholic. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I think.
Hey, wait a sec. I kind of fit that remark.
Also, Jen says great point. Tortilla talking about, I believe when Tortilla says we wouldn't be in the playoffs without TJ.
Yeah, I'm not denying what he's done.
Corey says, my problem is now you should keep him and pay him because you had a chance to trade him away for a great draft capital to a needy team. Now he's going to be a free agent and you get nothing in return. And they're going to pay. Listen,
third round comp pick, baby.
They're going to pay TJ Watt.
Yeah, they will.
I mean, come on. It's Cam who's starting to get a little over, past his prime. He's the one I don't think that you continue to pay. They just did something with his contract either last year or the year before. I think he had 3 years on that. I think after that contract, he's done. I can't see at least people arguing to pay Cam Hayward big money, especially at that point. But one of these three guys have to go, Mike. They're just eating up too much money for not enough being done between them players. Let's go to Tortilla. Don't put all your money in one stock. Put a quarter into 1 watt. Mark Malone, it's in today's cap. Not in 4 years, it won't be. Let's trade Watt to Miami and get Ramsey. You know what? We'd probably get more production out of Jalen Ramsey.
Probably would.
Tortilla, it's not about how much money. It's about how big the percentage of the cap is. If you're paying around the same percentage, there's no issue. Cap goes up and you have to spend 90% of it.
You do, but I I want someone who is going to produce in the playoffs for me. I just don't know where, why we don't ask more out of our star players. I don't know why we ask them to be
I would just like to see them show up to practice. That's all I'm asking. And the three that aren't there, or the three I'd like to see, there.
And Ben, Brady, Mahomes, they all had their contracts to where they got paid, but to where they can rework them so everyone else can get paid to build a better team and not have their brother go on a Pat McAfee show going, oh, you should be first getting that contract in, because if you're second, it's going to cost you. Like, really, this is what we're doing. You're having your brother go on air to tell everyone that you want to be paid more than someone else. It's just a pissing contest. It's not about winning championships. It's about the bankroll.
And the reason that the things worked in Pittsburgh for 18 years is because Ben had it set up like that, so he could renegotiate every so often to make things happen. See, again, you got to get back to doing smart things, Mike. We're not doing smart things. Hey, what's up, Finch on the board? Tortilla says, especially if we draft a quarterback round 1, then we have 5 years of not paying paying quarterback. Yeah, I get it. Again, I just don't think you could tie all your money up into these guys. It's not getting it. Other guys have guys that are getting a lot of money that are getting it done. That's the difference. If we had guys that were literally getting it done and making it happen, and again, don't get me wrong, TJ, he will be re-signed. I'm going to say right here today. But maybe a couple of these other guys, they really need to work on moving forward, because we need other things big. And if the guys, listen, if we could get a young tackle that could be more productive than Cam, why not go for the youth? Again, he's the young man's league. 22, 23 years old is probably the average. I'd say give or take. But we're just, Mike, we want these old men so bad.
Yeah.
We want old men. I don't understand. It's not working in hockey. It doesn't generally work in football. But it is where we be at this moment.
Yeah, and just like looking in for like the crop of free agents next year, there's just off the top of my head, there's no eye opener. So you're gonna have to spend the money on Watt this year, but you still have
Watt's not going anywhere. Believe me,
he's not going anywhere.
And you're just not hearing about it because Aaron Rodgers is such a story. And if you anything that you love about this team, you're not going to hear about it over this next 10 months, because Aaron Rodgers will be the story. I can promise you that. Corey Beaver says, yeah, but if you don't give him Garrett money, then he will just walk. Kenneth says, without double and triple teams, he's still that guy. Corey says, but maybe
he couldn't beat a tight end down the stretch. They stopped putting a tackle on him. They just threw a tight end over there, and he couldn't beat that.
Well, he put up all zeros in the last how many games of the season?
And that's what's frustrating. And then when he couldn't get the quarterback, he wasn't even peeling off, mirroring the quarterback like he did against Washington. And against Washington, he had trouble getting there, but he made plays at the line to disrupt Jaden Daniels, and he wasn't doing that down the stretch. It was like he gave up. He just wanted to try and run after the quarterback. He forgot how to play the position.
Corey Beaver says maybe, but don't pay him and make him show that 2024 was a fluke, and then maybe we will win a championship with 25 sacks and a 100-yard return in the Super Bowl. Mark Malone. Mark Malone says we're built to win right now. He follows it up by saying 40 million is 14% of the cap. You have 53 plus guys on your team. Do the math. 14% is a lot of money. Jen says that's not TJ. JJ spouts off at the mouth for attention. He likes to be in the spotlight. And I'm going to finish Kenny up here, Mike, and we're going to jump into this last topic for the Steelers. He says teams showed that by focus on TJ, they can neutralize our defense. Again, he put up all zeros in the playoffs, straight across the board. I mean, this is your big money guy. I mean, the other big money guys in the playoffs, they showed up, didn't they? For other teams, TJ put up all zeros.
And even like you can put up all zeros and still affect the game, but he wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing the little things off the ball. He wasn't, beating his man one-on-one to where they had to move everyone over to him to allow other people to go. It wasn't a good performance.
Mike, Jen says she sounds just like Brian.
Hey, I give Watt credit and I criticize him when it's due. I did the same thing with Big Ben. I do the same thing with Sidney Crosby. I'm sorry. I hold star players to a higher level of standard than like a 6th round draft pick.
Kenneth said Herb is the best off the bench. He is not an every down guy, size-wise. Mr. Steeler fan, you could tag him for 2 years, force a team to deal first round for him.
That would be wild. Let him contract run out and pull the Lev Bell on him.
Yeah,
because he can't. He's not going to hold out for a year.
Mark Malone, that's dumb. That's doing dumb things, kicking the can down the road. We're manipulating the cap in a smart way lately. I mean, we're giving 14% to one guy. It's not put up zeros the whole way across the board in the last 3 games that mattered last year. Again, is there a wide receiver that gets paid more than anybody that if he's not catching passes or scoring touchdowns in the playoffs, you're ready to fire, get this guy out of your team. If your quarterback's your top guy and he throws 5 interceptions, whatever the case may be, and he's not getting it done, or you're still going to continue shoveling money to a guy that again, zeros the whole way across the board last year in games that mattered. The games that mattered. The playoffs, some of them in that final 4 games, whatever it was, where we couldn't even stay on the field with those teams. Philadelphia, Kansas City, Baltimore, I think was in there. I'm going to catch a couple more of these, Mike, and I do want to get into the last topic for the Steelers here. Mark Malone, Howard was looking Howard was looking fast as F at OTAs. I thought it was a rookie running around like a maniac. Hayward, he says, is doing this. I'm sorry.
Hey, hopefully he has one more year in him. He had a good year last year. I'm not going to shit on Cam.
It also didn't help that we played a division rival in the playoffs. They have a blueprint on what, but who else is better to beat the Ravens than the Steelers?
Yeah,
we literally have a winning record against them. Everybody else,
yeah. We saw Watt rain havoc on them in the past.
And the thing is, I think we have a better chance of beating Baltimore. And again, our record indicates that anybody else in the league. So maybe should have went in our favor if he could have, brought it. Tortilla says TJ makes 11.91 of the cap right now. 14 isn't going to break us. Again, 53 guys. One guy getting 14%. That's a lot of money to not get the results that you want from this guy.
Yeah, to where hey, I know I need a corner opposite Joey Porter. I can spend money there. Hey, I need a big time threat at wide receiver because it's the passing league. I can go and get what I'd spend money on those 2 positions right there.
Tortilla says I'd rather be in a big game and not score than not be in the big game. See, that's the debate. That's the debate. Last year we were saying, do we even deserve to be in the playoffs? Well, what if we lose and we don't make it, then we got this, we could get this draft, it's the blah 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 blah. Or I just want to be in. I want my team in, which I totally understand. So sometimes people say, you know what, I would rather be in it. Maybe bring Aaron Rodgers. Let's get in the playoffs. Then not be in it. Even if you're not going to win. You know what? It's this season. We want to see our team do as best as they can. I get that mindset as well. I get it. He also says we trade Watt. That makes Highsmith get more attention, and then we're talking about trading Highsmith. Yeah, Watt certainly helps Highsmith's career, as he did Bud Dupree. As you're seeing, Bud Dupree, since he left Pittsburgh, not quite as productive as he was without Watt, Mike. But this makes me want to talk about the next topic I do have here: the team defense, Mike, for the Celebrity All-Star
baby.
game in Washington, PA, later this summer, Mike. Of course, July 14. At EQT Park in Washington, PA. Team defense, Mike, they're assembling the team piece by piece. Team defense have added players to the team for this Celebrity All-Star game in Washington, PA, or later this summer, Mike. They added James Harrison. That's right, James Harrison is on team defense. Silverback is back.
Back, baby.
Joe Hayden, our cornerback we got from Cleveland, he did great. I would have loved to kept Joe Hayden had that been the case. Mike?
Yeah, but he was at the end and he went back and retired at his home team. I can't.
Absolutely.
I can't hate him.
He's the best CB we've had here in quite some time. But,
yeah. Oh God, he was amazing.
I loved him. But Joe Hayden and James Harrison, Mike, they're both joining team defense in the Celebrity softball game down at Washington Ballpark. Mike, also the two women, I don't know who they are. Maybe you could help me. Erica Christensen is also somebody who's on team defense, and Steph DeLander. Steph, D-E, and then second word to that, Lander, Lander. Do you know any of these women?
No, I do not.
So that is, Mike, that's team defense for the Celebrity All-Star game. This is probably about the third or fourth year they've been doing it now, maybe a 5 year. I don't know. It's been a while, a couple years, Mike, every year down in Washington, PA at EQT Park. They get together, they play team offense versus team defense. Cam Hayward, Kenny Pickett, all these names that you know from Pittsburgh has been there over these past few years. Seems like a great time, Mike. Maybe you and I will make the trek down to Washington one of these years. I think it could be a lot of fun, actually.
It would be. I can go boo Cam Hayward live.
And that's why I never took you, remember? Because you always wanted to get
out. Because
you just wanted to get out and boo everybody.
I just want to boo Cam.
Maybe one of these years we'll get out. And it seems like a good time.
Again, it would be fun.
July 14. That is at the Washington Wild Things minor league baseball stadium in Washington, PA, south of Pittsburgh. Mike, in the NFL, top 5 rivalries. These always make me laugh because the tops never change. Pittsburgh, Baltimore is number 1. Yeah. Number 2 is Green Bay, Chicago, which, again, I mean, none. Usually, good rivalry comes down to 2 good teams or 2 teams that's always playing for something. But I get Green Bay and Chicago because they've both been around since the beginning of time. Number 3 on this list, Mike, Dallas and Washington, which nobody was talking about this rivalry until all of a sudden Washington has started playing good last year. I don't buy it, Mike. I think all the NFC East games, they're all good rivals in their own way. Do you stick Dallas and Washington in the top 5? I don't think so. I can't see it again. Were you ever talking about Washington before last season?
No, not for a while now.
Number 4, Mike, in the top 5 biggest rivals in the NFL. This one here, again, they always stick some of these weirdo ones in the bottom of the list that throw you off. Mike, San Francisco and the New York Giants. San Francisco and the New York Giants being number 4 on the top 5 rivalry list in the NFL. And this next one, Mike, only applies to the teams 10 years ago, in my opinion. New England and Indianapolis was a great rivalry when you had Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. But, Mike, I would hardly call this a rivalry between the Patriots and Indianapolis. But the only one thing that does stay certain, Mike, and solid every year, year in, year out, is the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens, and even that Green Bay Chicago. But again, I mean, these that rivalry goes back further than the dinosaurs. So I accept it, but I'm never accept that it's a bigger rivalry than the Steelers and the Ravens.
No.
And my last question, guys, and anybody on the board, feel free to jump in here, guys, on this. Which 2024 playoff team will miss the playoffs in 2025? I'm going to throw the teams out there. Throw some teams up on the board, guys, if you have a thought on this. We're looking for which 2024 playoff team will miss the playoffs this year. Baltimore, Buffalo, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay, Houston, Kansas City, the Chargers, the Rams, the Vikings, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and Washington. Who caught your attention? Which one of those teams will not be returning to the playoffs this year, Mike? Let me just take a quick look. I think that Baltimore is definitely going to be there. I think Buffalo is going to be there. I think Denver's going to improve. They'll be fighting a team like Pittsburgh, I think, ultimately to get a wild card spot. Kansas City's going to be there. Houston, I think they're going to play better. The Rams, Chargers, Minnesota. Mike, who are you seeing? Tampa Bay. I'm thinking right off the top. The one team off the top for me is Tampa Bay would be the team out of all those teams, those 14 teams, to not make the playoffs. But that's my pick. Who do you think?
I'm thinking Denver and Houston. Houston, they still have yet to readdress their offensive line. Last season they let the interior offensive line deteriorate, and that just gave Stroud no time to go. Then they trade Tunsil, their starting left tackle, really didn't do a whole lot there. So I'm leaning towards them, and I think Denver going to take a step back, and not a huge step back, but I think that coming out of the West, I think the Chargers did more to improve than they did. So I'm going Denver and Houston.
I think the West could be the team that sends 3 teams to the playoffs this year with the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Kansas City. And also, Mike, with your Houston, that division is just so bad. I just can't imagine Houston.
Yeah. Unless
with
Jacksonville
Stroud,
takes a step.
and you're going to want him moving forward. And again, that's the weakest division in the AFC by far. I think Houston makes it. Again, my team is Tampa. Guys on the board, Richard saying Green Bay. Corey saying Denver, Chargers, Rams. Tampa won't make it. And Richard does say the NFC is a strong division. And that's where I think the Green Bay, because they were a playoff team, a double-digit win team in a division where teams were 15 and 14 wins. You know what I mean? You got to like the direction that Green Bay's going. That's why I didn't take them out. They would have been my pick, Mike.
Yeah.
But I just think that Tampa Bay is slightly, but that's such a bad division.
But yeah, and they're the cream of the crop of that division.
Right.
So it's like they kind of by default make it.
I mean, who else is going to win that division? Carolina? Come on.
No, I don't see Carolina.
Atlanta would be the only team because the Saints stink. Atlanta would be
the only one.
Atlanta would be the only team possible, I think, that could win that division. And again, they are so.
But that's counting.
They're
on
such
Michael
underachievers.
Penix. And Michael Penix gonna have to make a jump. Their tight end is actually gonna have to live up to the hype. It's gonna be it's Tampa. It's Tampa's division. Baker Mayfield, man.
Yeah. Let me catch up on a couple more of these messages here, Mike. Okay, here we go. Mr. Steeler fan, we essentially should have let Highsmith walk instead of extending him. Watt should have gotten that money down the road. Kenneth said the only reason TJ disappears because of 2 or 3 blockers assigned to him. Tortilla says, great point, Mr. Stiller. Mr. Stiller says Herbig would have been fine on the outside, or we could have drafted someone in the meantime, or perhaps even have traded Highsmith at his highest value. Mark Malone, they're going to rotate guys more with this year with Sawyer, and the offense will actually stay on the field. Watt won't be worked to death for once.
I hope.
And Tortilla says, you guys see the video of Roger saying the Packers don't give a shit about the Bears? I did not. And I do want to say what's up to Phil is still great seeing you, my friend. It's always great to see Phil. How you doing, brother? He says, what up, fellas? As for me, I don't care what happens in 2025. I'm done with the same record. I want a whole new. Yeah, I get it. Didn't even have to finish.
He did. Yeah, I knew exactly what he was saying.
Absolutely. Mike, but I'm gonna just have to jump over to a couple things here as we are getting ready to wrap things up for the day, Mike. Our other football team, the soccer team, that is the Pittsburgh Riveters. The Riveters, Mike, they played yesterday. They took a loss to the Cleveland Force 3-2. So now they had a tie in the first game against the Force. They beat Flower City 1-0, and they lost to Cleveland Force. So they're 1-1-1. I guess that's how you would keep track of records in soccer. But they are back at it tomorrow. They'll be back at it tomorrow playing Flower City again. So they do get an opportunity against Flower City tomorrow. They play a lot, this Riveters team, huh?
Yeah.
Women's soccer.
Yeah. Usually the pro level, like 2 games a week.
Mark Malone saying Houston. You know what, Houston, now that I'm looking back, I might change my pick from Tampa Bay to Houston because I think, again, who else is going to win that Tampa Bay division? Like I said, less Atlanta, but they've been such underachievers for the past 50 years. I might have to change my answer as well to Houston because, again, that's kind of making sense. But they're a weak division too. It's tough. It's tough. Maybe.
It might be the Jags year. It might be the year Sunshine Trevor Lawrence gets it together.
Yeah. Where are we at? Okay, the Riveters, Mike, they'll be back at it tomorrow. Again, the Pittsburgh Pirates off today. They start a series in San Diego. That starts tomorrow night at 9:40. Got the late games coming out on the West Coast, of course. Mike, the NBA and the NHL mirroring each other again as OKC wins the series 3-1 as they beat Minnesota 124-94 yesterday, putting them in the finals as they just wait. They wait for the winner of the Pacers and Knicks series. Game 5 of that series is tonight at 8 o'clock. If the Pacers win, they will go on to face OKC in the championship. And that's it. That's it, Mike. That's 8 o'clock tonight. Knicks need to win to stay alive. And in hockey, the same exact thing. Florida, they beat Carolina 5-3. They're in. They win 4-1, as in the other league. Today, the Oilers, who are up 3-1 on the Stars, their game is also at 8 o'clock. So both leagues, Mike, mirroring each other to a T. If the Oilers win tonight, they're in. They'll be facing Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals. But the Stars need to win to keep it alive. Mike, the Stars down 3-1. Both games, 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, I don't see the Stars coming back. And RIP Carolina Hurricanes 1-16 in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Somebody else who's not having such a great luck in basketball, Mike, this Indiana Fever, of course, with Caitlin Clark being out with her quad injury, the Fever loses to the DC Mystics 83-77 last night. The Fever's next game will be Sunday. They have a chance to play. They host the Sun on Sunday at 7:30, so they have a chance to get back in it, Mike. But they need Caitlin Clark back. They need her back fast. It's just two different teams.
She's that whole team.
Yeah. And finally, Mike, Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp shot 2 men in a parking garage. Sean Kemp, one of my childhood heroes, a dunking machine. In an incident, Mike, I don't know what the hell happened entirely, but Sean Kemp is in big trouble.
Sean Kemp. Doesn't he have like 45 kids too?
I think he does. He's one of these. Yeah, he's in that Phillip Rivers category.
Hell yeah.
Which, if you got money, there's nothing wrong with it. But you know what? The fact that these guys always end up bankrupt, that's kind of maybe a telltale sign.
I know, right?
Washington and Houston. Maybe Washington just had an overachieving year, Mike. Maybe they're not as good.
Yeah, because they went from what they had the number 2 pick in the league to
NFC Championship.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot to ask Jaden Daniels to pull that off again. Like not many rookie quarterbacks, have that great success and then follow it up with even more. The only one who did that was Ben. Can he do it? Because CJ Stroud took a step back this year because that the line collapsed in front of him. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he can do down in Washington.
And one more thing, I did say that I was going to touch this later, Mike. Kenny Pickett, he did take a jab at us without taking a jab at us. Let me pull this up real quick. Kenny Pickett, when asked about playing with Cleveland, I don't want to get it wrong, so just bear with me for a moment until I pull it up. Here he is. Mr. Kenny Pickett. When asked about his time in the league, Pickett may have taken a bit of a shot at the Steelers, making sure everyone knew where he learned how to play. Kenny Pickett says, in quote, "I'm extremely grateful for my time in Philadelphia. I just was shown how it's supposed to be done, really from the top down. So you get a chance to see what it's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to look on a day-to-day basis, not just on Sundays. I think that will pay dividends for me in my future." I don't think that he's I mean, if what people are saying about Pittsburgh as of recently, and as our results are showing, because the team that he learned from has been in 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, and us not so much. Mike, was this a shot at Pittsburgh, or was this Kenny just showing his appreciation for what Philadelphia was able to do for him?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. Mike, maybe you give us a little bit more scoop on the website.
The 2dumbyensers.com. We know it's over there, especially if you're new. Check it out. We got merchandise over there. We got the links to all of our social media from Rana, and we got the blog, Mike's Dumb Thoughts over there. I had the article up yesterday about a couple guys to watch this season. So yeah, check it out at the2dumbyensers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumbyensers.com. That's www.the2dumbyensers.com. My question of the day. Of course, we had some guys switching numbers.
Yes.
What was there? Who were they, Mike? Who were the two guys that just switched numbers?
Gainwell is now 14.
Yeah, Gainwell's 14.
And
yeah, go ahead.
And what's his name? Staying at 4.
Craig.
DK Metcalf staying at 4.
And Craig is taking number 21 as well.
That's right.
Just signed.
Yeah.
Mike, so the question of the day, this is going to be about jersey numbers for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Put on your thinking cap. Everybody on the board, play along. This is the question of the day. This is about Steelers jersey numbers. Question of the day, guys. Name the only Steeler that wore the number 1 since Gary Anderson donned it from 82 to 94.
Wow.
Gary Anderson wore it 82 to 94. One person wore it once since Gary Anderson. That's who we're looking for. Take a moment to think it over, guys. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day right here on YouTube. Jen, you're right. Kenny was coached by Matt Canada. Question of the day. Name the only Steeler who wore number 1 since Gary Anderson. Feel free to put some guesses up on the board if you have them. Mike, who are you thinking? What direction are you going with this? Or with one guy? I think it was, I remembered it. I remembered exactly who it was as soon as I seen it. But I have a different reason for remember this period of time. Mike, who was the only player to wear number 1 since Gary Anderson? Richard saying he doesn't have a clue.
I have zero flipping clue.
Would I give you? I'll give you a hint.
Give me a hint.
You know what? Yeah. If he played, he would have thrown passes to a man named Jaheen Arnold.
Oh my God. Jaheen Arnold.
So maybe
there's a deep cut. There's a deep
so
cut.
that maybe that puts you just in the time. So what I was trying to do, I'm just trying to get you in the right time because again, maybe someone slipped the number 1 in. I'm just trying to give you a time period of when that might have been. If this person did play, he would have been throwing passes to Jaheen Arnold. Question of the day. Name the only Steeler who wore number 1 since Gary Anderson wore it from 82 to 94. Mike, who's your guess?
God, I'm trying to say. It's got to be a quarterback. Omar Jacobs.
Omar Jacobs. Is this your final answer?
Yeah, final answer.
All
but
right.
I don't think Jaheen Arnold and him overlapped.
All right, I'm going to lock Mike in on Omar Jacobs. The board seems like they are struggling with this one as well.
This is a tough one, dude.
It wasn't during the strike. It was in 1999.
Oh, definitely not Omar.
Question of the day, guys. Name the only Steeler that wore number 1 since Gary Anderson wore it from 1982 to 1994. Mike says Omar Jacobs. Guys, in 1999, Anthony Wright.
Oh, wow.
Anthony
okay, I remember
Wright.
him now. Yeah.
Again, it would have been tough to remember, especially if one would be a fair weather fan, maybe somebody who's only one. To know the Steelers is to know this. Anthony Wright, Mike. I think Pete Gonzalez, who wore number 7 at the time, was also on that team. The quarterbacks we had back in those late 90s,
right?
Cordell Stewart was the starter. Anthony Wright and Pete Gonzalez, guys. We thought times were tough now.
Yeah, you think they're bad now?
But
that's why this shit doesn't bother me with what we have going on now.
1999, last time anybody wore the number 1. Anthony Wright, quarterback.
Anthony Wright, where did he come from college?
I forget.
I would have said Tennessee, but that was T. Martin.
Yeah. Go ahead and you can look that up real quick.
I am, because it's going to bug me.
Guys, I do want to say, no, I already got that. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. I'm just kind of waiting up on you.
I'm sorry. I'm looking here. I got to. South Carolina.
South Carolina. There you go. Anthony Wright out of South Carolina, 1999. The other rough years in my adult life for the Steelers. The late 90s was tough. Mike, anything before we do start getting ready to wrap things up for today, sir?
No. Don't pay TJ Watt. I'm in that camp.
All right.
Make him play this contract. Franchise tag him. Thank you for your service.
I do want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out today. We appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support. I do want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting on the show. Love it.
Flying today. I love it.
Great job as always. Everybody at home, at school, in the car, in the gym, wherever you may be, thank you as well. Greatly appreciated, everybody. Thank you. Mike, we got not so many things going on today. Again, the Pirates are off, but heading into the weekend, there's going to be a lot of stuff. The Pittsburgh Passion starting their home schedule this week, Mike, up at Slippery Rock, taking on Tampa Bay is a big game for this Pittsburgh Passion. Of course, our women's football team here in Pittsburgh. I'm anticipating that. Mike, and also our soccer teams. The Riveters will be back at it tomorrow. The Hounds over the weekend. And the Pirates starting a series out in San Diego after scoring 19 runs in 2 games, which is very, very non-typical of this Pittsburgh Pirates squad. That's a month worth of runs in the past 2 nights. We need more Arizona in our life, but we're heading out even further west, Mike, to take on the Padres out in San Diego. Again, that doesn't start till tomorrow night. And again, these NBA and NHL finals as of tonight, Mike, we can have championships figured out for both leagues.
I think we will.
If the Edmonton beats Dallas and the Pacers beat the Knicks, we will then know who is going to be facing off in the championships of both of those leagues, Mike. So that, of course, will be catching up on tomorrow as well. But besides for that, we'll continue to dig and scrape and scoop and try everything we could do to find all the Pittsburgh Steelers scoop and information that we possibly can at OTAs, Mike. And then OTAs, they do continue next week as well. So going to be a big story. Let's see who shows up next week.
Yeah.
Maybe there's going to be, I'm sure there'll be new storylines that do pop up, guys.
Oh, yeah.
But we will be on it hardcore, nose to the grind to make sure we have all that information for you every day right here on the show, Mike. But again, not too much going on. So tomorrow we'll be back to get ready for the weekend, basically getting ready for all the games, series, and stuff. And in the Steelers, after their first week of OTAs, we'll kind of get ready to talk about that a little bit as well. Getting ready to head into the second week. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope everybody joins us tomorrow, again, at our regular time right here. Mike, anything else, man? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
No, other than thanks for tuning in, everyone. This was a fun episode.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
blast.
Everybody, again, for
2 hours, baby,
for your participation. Again, you are as important to the show as we are. Believe me. Thank you so much. You guys always help contribute to making this show what it is. Thank you so much from Mike and myself. I do want to say, Mike, if that's everything for you, for Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, myself, the Two Dumb Ninjas, I hope everybody has a great, safe Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again. We hope to see you there.